Podquest.
So, Neal, I have a question for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We have received correspondence.
Yeah, we have.
Look, other people listen to this show, and we know that. We love and appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Please keep doing that. But I'm just going to go ahead and say, from our most dedicated listener,
Hell yeah.
Paul.
Shout out to Paul again.
Paul tweets. Paul now sends us voicemails. He does it all. And so he had a question for us. Before we get into the episode, would you like to answer Paul's question?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Hello, Podquesters. Paul here from Melbourne, Australia. Quick question for you. It's taken me a little while to realize this, but the version I'm watching of this show is different to the version you're watching in a pretty big way. My DVDs don't seem to have the commercial bumpers, like the coming up next things. So I guess, like, who's watching the better version of the show is my question. Am I missing out on, like, kick-ass, cheesy ad spot throw things? Or are you missing out on, like, the single piece of unbroken cinema that is Mortal Kombat Conquest? Cheers.
So, that was a shocking question to receive.
It was.
Largely because I can't fathom why they would have gone through the effort of altering it in any meaningful way for a home release.
This highlights the fucking disrespect that this show, that Mortal Kombat Conquest, received in North America. Do you remember when we saw the Australian DVD menus that had, like, episode descriptions and pictures of, like, screenshots from the actual episodes itself? Like, it looked like a professional, like,
it looked like people made it.
It looked like the people who made it fucking cared.
It didn't look auto-generated.
My DVD set of Mortal Kombat Conquest, the complete series, is the fucking barest bones DVD in existence. I'm pretty sure the first DVD that was ever released had more features on it than this thing. It is literally like a stock DVD software menu with a picture of Kung Lao, and it says Mortal Kombat Conquest, and then just generic ass buttons. No special features, no nothing. And this is a legit copy from Warner Brothers, right? It's a new release, but it is just the fucking barest bones. We don't give a shit here. They probably, like, pressed it on demand even. They just didn't give a fuck.
All right, fellas, a new request has come in from the factory. We need more of that. We need more of that fighting show.
Yeah, they did nothing. No extras, no nothing, right? Meanwhile, like, I've seen all kinds of shit on trivia. We talked about it a little while ago where when they were releasing this show in other markets, they were batching episodes together, kind of making, like, mini movie experiences, right? Like, take 2 episodes that have a theme, like Scorpion, or a theme like episodes where Taja does something, and grouping them together.
Yeah, which was so weird.
Yeah, and over here, it's
well,
just...
and
anyway.
And, you know, someone feel free to correct me, but I also find it fascinating because my understanding of Australia's relationship to violent media is mostly that they don't like it down there and try to legislate it to death with regulations. So I find it funny that a fairly violent television program appears to have gotten some pretty golden treatment for that region. And so I'm just going to get into it here quick because the crux of Paul's question is he missing anything?
Well, first, I just want to confirm that, so I own this on DVD, and you own it digitally, a purchased digital copy, not like a pirated digital copy.
I bought it on YouTube.
I also bought it on a digital marketplace, so I have a legit released by the studio version. And both the digital versions and the DVD versions do both, in fact, have the commercial bumpers in every single fucking episode. Because they didn't even care enough to just take those out for us.
And they happen, 3 times an episode?
Yeah, 2 or 3 times per episode, I think. Yeah.
So I get Paul's question because Paul's question implies there is a level of, like, fanfare to the bumpers. Yeah. Like, coming up next on Mortal Kombat Conquest, Kung Lao punches a man straight in his neck, and Taja is allowed to say more than 2 lines in succession. But first, Walgreens, or whatever. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So, Paul, I hate to do this to you,
Don't do it.
I'm gonna
Don't do it to Paul. Don't do it to Paul.
Paul, I'm gonna break your heart. You are not missing anything cool. You are, in fact, not missing anything at all. And to deflate any excitement that you might have had for things that we were going to be able to describe, you are probably watching the superior version if it is one uninterrupted Mortal Kombat experience, because the bumpers are just fight replays. They are slow motion fight replays of a particular segment of that fight.
They're not exclusively slow motion. Sometimes basically what they do is they take a clip from one of the fight scenes from the episode, and
that's right. They are not always slow motion. Frankly, I don't know why I said that. That is just wrong.
They throw an Instagram filter over it, and they play a few seconds of something cool that somebody did as the show cuts to commercial, and they put the little dragon logo down in the corner, which I'm always happy to see. Now, sometimes they're showing a clip from a fight that we just watched, and sometimes they're showing a clip from a fight that's coming up later in the episode.
Fights. They will full on spoil, and they're also like, this is a cool moment from the fight. So I can't think of a particular example at the moment, but you will just see the sickest move from a fight that you might have even narratively known could happen yet.
Right. So my outlook on this is sometimes I like it. Sometimes I like it when we see a cool fight in an episode and then we get this commercial bumper and it's showing me the coolest moment from that cool fight, and I get to just see it again, 10 minutes later or whatever. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, that part was cool. But sometimes it's like the first Avengers movie trailer where they totally spoil that part where Iron Man is falling from the sky and Hulk jumps up and saves him. And then you get to the movie and you watch it and you're like, oh, that was the coolest part, but I already seen it 16 times on TV. In the TV spots.
Those movies don't have stakes anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it's I like it when they're reminding me of something cool that just happened, and I don't like it when they're showing me something that's going to happen. It doesn't make me excited to get to it. It just kind of like, how do I say this?
I don't even have a strong opinion about it while you're trying to figure that out.
Well,
they just exist and are part of the thing.
It just kind of
deflates it a little. Ow!
That's...
Oh, I just stubbed my toe live on air. Oh God! Fuck. Oh, that hurt. Keep talking. This is staying in.
It's just like,
Power through it. That's what professionals do.
It deflates it. It deflates the moment. That's exactly the word. So I think if I were
I'm good.
I think if I were forced to choose, I would choose the version that removes them, because it would show me that the people who produced this DVD release, this digital release, gave a fuck. They didn't just we
want this show taken care of.
They didn't just take the tapes and convert them to DVD and give it to me at fucking 480i. And while we're at it, where's the goddamn Blu-ray re-release of Mortal Kombat Conquest?
Who do we have to harass?
Yeah, because fuck. I mean, it's on the digital marketplaces, but it's only an SD. Only an SD.
And so, before we get out of here and get onto the episode, I actually have a question for Paul.
Standard definition.
What I'm wondering, I don't know why this would be different, but I'm curious because at the episode 7-ish point of this show, the ending credits, the look changed, and they added a little banner at the bottom that is like, go to our website. And I'm wondering if that is intact in Paul's version or not. So we'll have to follow up.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. I'm also curious
because it wouldn't need to be there for a home release, because presumably that website probably didn't work at that point even then.
I also wonder if there's any modifications to individual episodes, right? Like if there was any sort of censorship either in our version or in the international version, or specifically in the Australian version, right? Like, did they remove anything?
Every other region actually has quadruple the blood.
I wonder if like we got like the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 1 where they took all the blood out, but they've got like the blood's just like flowing in the other regions, right?
We got the one that came out right after that guy did those. Never mind. Spits that. I can't remember his name. Who's the fucking American politician who was like, we need the ESRB actually?
Oh God, Jack something, the lawyer.
Fucking Jack Kerouac. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Jack Kerouac too. It's not.
Anyway, that joke's dead. I don't know.
Jack Thompson? Jack Thompson.
Jack Thompson.
Fuck that guy.
Anyway, the joke was going to be we got the version that he presided over the production of, and that's why all the violence is gone.
We have the Jack Thompson cut. Also, maybe there's like a blood...
The Sean Catherine Derrick cut, you cowards.
maybe there's a blood code that you can input on the DVD menu screen that unlocks the blood.
It unlocks the blood, but it puts more clothes on everybody.
Ooh,
that's the concession you're making.
That's the trade-off, yeah. But it's all just like clearly hand-drawn on, like in Dragon Ball Z.
Thank you, Paul, for giving us a message.
Please provide us...
Feel free to keep doing that.
Yeah, so here's the big things we want to know. Is there a blood code? I guess mostly
Is it just more violent? Does it feel cohesive? Like, are there no fades to black then? Is it just consistent? Or like what?
Thanks, Paul. Mortal Kombat Conquest, Episode 16, Kreeya.
Not to be confused with the country.
Let's do it, Corey. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I thought we were in it. I thought we were here. And you know what? I get why there was a reluctance for one of us to start talking.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, isn't it?
It's not tricky. It's just overwhelming.
Should we put a disclaimer?
The reason this episode is kind of wild is because it is 20 years old.
Yeah.
And also attempting to make a pretty strong statement toward the importance of feminism and gender equality, but more in terms of it's a bit of a girl power, girl boss kind of argument. Simultaneously within that, there is going to have to be discussion of sort of like imperial conquer and like the handling of indigenous cultures in places where settlers arrive.
Oh boy.
And we are going to acknowledge here that while we have perhaps studied or discussed to various degrees these topics, we're also here to talk about a fucking stupid TV show and are not experts on these things.
Yeah.
We have feelings about how the show goes about them, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything of major substance. It's just how we feel about the way the show is presenting it.
Yes. Yeah, I fully admit that I don't think I'm super well equipped to talk about the way feminism is raised in this episode with any kind
The
of
writers
nuance.
made some choices.
They did. So we're going to do our best here.
And with that out of the way,
Zero straight up not all men's in this episode.
Zero, okay, so yeah, you know what? Here's a great way to illustrate the ways in which this episode has some ideas. While watching it, an argument starts between Zero and Taja about whether the world would be a better place if women ran it or if men ran it. And as a joke, I wrote down a note that says, Zero is about to not all men Taja. And then he literally fucking says that.
Yeah.
So that's the level of fucking brain genius discourse that we're dealing with. So we're going to navigate it as best as possible, given that some of it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Let's jump right into the... Are you ready to go to the Corey Corner?
Let's fucking go. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Corey Corner.
There's a lot of shit in the Corey Corner this time. I think. I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah.
The way I absolutely hooted and hollered, screeched and screamed at the opening of this episode, where Shang Tsung is assailed by leather-clad bikini warriors, seemingly out of nowhere, and he loses because it's 3-on-1, and he's like, "Yo, what the fuck? What's happening? Who are you? Who are you fighting for?" And we get a fucking reveal.
Yeah, we do.
VORPAX, baby.
VORPAX
is here. VORPAX, we're like, okay, so we know that she's playing Shang and she's working with the Emperor. Newsflash, motherfucker, she's playing everybody.
Holy shit.
She's got a queen. She's got an empress. They're here. They're making moves in Outworld. They're fucking basically invading.
Yeah.
And VORPAX is like, hey, Shang, fuck you. She goes on later to have a great interaction where she basically is like, you made my life an absolutely miserable hell where I was a nightmare slave, and I'm going to absolutely wreak vicious vengeance upon you for that. And that all fucking rules. Good for VORPAX. I'm happy for VORPAX.
This whole episode could be a Corey Corner because you're going deep on this.
I just wanted to go deep on VORPAX.
Yeah.
So VORPAX's queen is named Kreeya. We discover that Kreeya is the ruler of a civilization that spans many realms, which I have questions about the logistics of. They are in Outworld. They would like to fuck up Shao Kahn's whole shit, and they present to our combat crew and offer, as like, hey, we're in Earthrealm. Look at how utopian and idyllic our all-woman fighter civilization is. We should be friends. You should help us take down Shao Kahn, which leads to some bickering between Taja and Zero about whether men or women are better, and then Kung Lao just kind of takes the centrist position like a bitch, and it's like, I don't know. We'll see. Like, what if everybody can be bad? Raiden is like, hey, I don't know who this person is. This is going to be weird. Things may not be as they seem. And spoiler, they're not. And Kreeya may be up to some stuff that might mean that Earthrealm gets entirely wiped out by a entire alien species of, like, kick-ass warrior ladies.
Yeah.
And that results in some reluctant alliances, and Kreeya is now on the board as a new sort of villain to deal with by the end after a very quick sort of change in tone.
Yeah.
But it's worth mentioning that in their description of this utopian society in which Kreeya and her ladies exist, they paint a lot of stuff as being good that is actually very bad. In particular, there is, I'm just going to get this out there now.
Sure.
There are two things that I take a special umbrage with. One is that, so this society of, like, warrior ladies, her big pitch is like, oh, eventually everybody that we take over, for lack of a better phrase, just become us. Like, at a certain point, it's like the whole place, just like our culture, our society, our literal physical form and bodies become the norm, and the other culture and physical form and bodies and land are completely wiped out.
Yep.
And that's awesome because we're better. And it's presented, even by the writers, as like a net positive good thing, without really acknowledging that what they're saying is this is an imperial force heading to lands that are not their own, and through raw militancy, take over and completely erase existing indigenous cultures.
Yeah. Yep.
Not good. What the fuck? I know that, like, she is ultimately a villain, but as we'll get into, the show waits a little long to sort of get to that point.
Right.
So there's a big chunk of this episode where you're like, is the show just saying this is good? Because it's bad.
Yeah, this is an episode with a lot of... This is going to be a rough one to talk about.
Things that, you know, I'm not prepared to say, it was 1999, whatever. Like...
Yeah. I mean,
the gender politics of this episode are, like, far and away the least egregious part, because it's very surface level.
Right.
It's genuinely bickering about, oh, well, if women were in charge, the world would be better. No, if men are in charge, it's better because that's how it is.
But then...
And there is a fair bit of juxtaposition between Shao Kahn, Outworld, dark, brooding, masculine, violent, and Kreeya, feminine, colorful, utopian, playing the harp. And that ultimately doesn't stay because we come to pass that this is an invasion force and they're trying to erase Earthrealm from existing, basically.
Yeah.
But that part's actually just really shallow, and that's almost more annoying because, like, it doesn't... It feels like... I forget how you described it before we got on here because we were talking about it a little bit, but it feels like something that TV shows were probably just doing at the time where it's like, oh, well, we need to address this somehow.
Right. Yeah, maybe now's a good time for me to bring this up. So...
What if women could also be vicious conquerors?
Right, and that was a really...
Girl boss.
That was a really specific outlook where you saw it a lot in this era. You saw it in video games especially. Like, Tomb Raider comes to mind as the sequels went on, where she just got more and bigger guns and spent more time gunning down a bunch of dudes on the streets of Venice as opposed to, you know, searching archaeological sites and defending herself against wildlife. The shorthand to making, like, the badass female character in a movie or TV show or video game in this era was make them hot, make them mostly naked, but make them act like men do, where they're, you know, kicking ass and killing stuff and swearing and just
let them do stuff that male characters are already allowed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like, look, women are badass too, right?
The thing that you're gesturing at
Yeah.
is that this show's solution to how can we get in on this like very commercially acceptable brand of feminism
Right.
that is permissible because it's cash in, you can cash in on it.
Yeah.
Is it's one of two things, and it's sort of that thing you're describing where it's like, oh, this oh man, this character is cool because she's a lady and she's hot, but also she gets to do the big kick and the big gun. Crazy. Or you get what I think we get here, which beyond the shallow comparison of like, oh, we're actively juxtaposing two things that have raw aesthetic differences to communicate a difference that is purely binary, like masculine,
Yes.
feminine. Like Outworld is masculine and dark and brooding and whatever, and Kreeya's zone in Earthrealm is like pleasant and kind and nice and warm. And to be fair, this is like the only time we ever get to see Vorpax smile.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something to be said. But what we are getting is just a very like
A really black and it's a binary. It's really a binary.
It's a binary, but
Yeah.
no, like the bigger problem is like its depiction rather of what like a feminist utopia is.
Right. One where all the it's
And I'm a man. However, it feels misogynistic because it's so simple and it's so bland and it's so generically like, you know, acceptable feminist girl power shit.
Yeah, I don't think they meant it to be as bland as it ended up coming off, honestly. Like, I think they meant it to look good because we've been seeing, you know, the slums of Zhuzhen and the beggars on the street and I guess all the women in Zhuzhen are dressed the same as Korea's warriors for the most part. But like, you know,
it's some real like men are from Mars, women are from Venus shit. But like the women in this society don't necessarily feel liberated or anything, and they don't necessarily even feel like fleshed out people. And the catch to that is what we ultimately learn in the twist, which I'm just going to talk about now. We're here, by the way. The Corey Corner is encompassing this entire conversation now.
It's a long corner. It's a wide corner.
Yeah, and they are literally actually pawns in like an invasion effort, a war effort. It's about power and expansion and
Imperialism.
The argument and imperialism, just literally raw imperialism. And the argument that the show is making cannot be we're being progressive because we're letting a woman do what Shao Kahn is normally doing.
Right.
Because they're also attempting to make the argument that this society that you're seeing, up until we tell you it's bad, is good, despite the inherent negatives they are sprinkling through it and glossing over like it's nothing because they've decided it's girly and it's nice. And it just feels wholly unequipped to deal with the shit it's bringing to the table. And
yeah,
not to give it an excuse, but it was 20 years ago, and Mortal Kombat spin-off entertainment was not going to be where it needed to be. In terms of progressive ideology, never mind the fact that we have barely touched on how fucking binary it is, but that's really neither here nor there.
I got a lot of thoughts about this too. These things are definitely going to come up in our deeper discussion.
They're going to keep coming up, but because we don't need to talk about this episode for 14 hours, these are our general feelings on how this episode is handling that material. The answer is not well.
Right. Yeah, totally. All right. Let's go across the street to the Neal Nook for a Coke Zero Sugar Energy.
Welcome to the Neal Nook.
It's Gucci.
Hell yeah. So this episode had 3 writers. It took 3 writers to put this masterpiece
together. It took 3 writers to fuck this up this bad.
The writers of this episode are James Cappy, Sean Catherine Derrick, and Robert Rabinowitz. And the episode director is Bruce Seth Green, who we've seen he did another episode of this. I forget which one, but he also worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and some other shows. We got we have one big new character and one character from Mortal Kombat showing up. So we'll start with him. We've got Outworld Middle...
In the weirdest cameo yet.
We've got Outworld Middle Management General Reiko.
So remember last week when I was like, Shao Kahn is a bad manager but a good delegator?
Yes, I do.
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because Reiko seems to know how to get the best out of the people around him. He's got all kinds of information. He's got all kinds of schemes and all kinds of guys. And that's why Shao Kahn is like, I can give this to Reiko. And I know he's got that funny face paint that he does. He looks like he's at a Kiss concert, but he's a good manager. And, you know, that's why Outworld LLC works and why that merger was never going to go well. Anyway, please continue.
General Reiko, played by Jim Helsinger. Helsinger? How would you pronounce that? Helsinger.
I think Helsinger's coolest.
Jim Helsinger plays General Reiko. We will see him again in another episode.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. He was in a TV miniseries called From the Earth to the Moon. In one episode of that starred Tom Hanks. So this guy, I think, prior to his work on Mortal Kombat Conquest, worked with Tom Hanks on a television miniseries.
Was Tom Hanks. Got it.
And he was also on an episode of Sheena, which we've talked about before. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. Probably how he got this job, because that show shares, I think, writers and some directors and some extra cast with that series. Anyway, Kreeya is played by Fabiana Udenio.
So just a quick joke for you.
Let's hear it.
Instantly, I saw her face and I was like, this should have just been Winona Ryder.
No, instead, they got the actor who played a lot of vagina in the first Austin Powers movie.
What a great bit.
Well,
I'm going to actually, that name is funny.
Yeah. So I picked out a couple credits.
I'm not ashamed to laugh at Austin Powers in public.
Picked out a couple credits for her. First of all, she was definitely on an episode of Baywatch, keeping the tradition alive.
Check.
Most recently, she had I think like a 7-episode run on Jane the Virgin. But I picked out 2 credits for you, Corey. She was also in the movies RoboCop 2. So unfortunately, she didn't spend some time with Bruce Locke.
Passing ships in the night with Bruce Locke.
And she was
that
in...
sentence was not correct, but you get what I mean. Because I did not say it right.
Ships passing in the night. Yeah.
Ships passing ships in the night with Bruce Locke. Sounds like a euphemism for something.
Well, you know, we don't know what was going on, you know, off camera.
Bruce Locke, come on the show.
And she was also in Bride of Reanimator.
Oh, nice.
And a ton of other things. Like, she's worked steady for a very, very long time. But I do think probably the demographic that was watching Mortal Kombat Conquest at the time would mostly know her from playing a lot of vagina in Austin Powers International
first?
Man of Mystery.
Was that even first? Or was Conquest first?
Austin Powers was 1997, so that was first.
Okay,
Yeah.
asked and answered.
Yeah. Also, ooh, I missed this one. This is a good one. This kind of connects to our episode from last week. She was in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares. The
Oh, nice.
yeah, the Nightmare on Elm Street spin-off horror anthology TV series.
If he were any cooler, he'd still be frozen, baby, is the tagline on the fucking Austin Powers poster. God fucking damn it.
All right.
You ever just Google Austin Powers International Man of Mystery and just keep scrolling through images?
No. You looking
Do you ever do that?
find any Fabiana Udenio in there?
I'm not seeing anything. I guess we should this deep into this episode. Oh my god, how do we do this? How do we do this every time?
Yeah, this sucks. All right.
Well, here's the thing. We can do this with minimal tangents.
Let's do it.
We can.
Oh, we absolutely can.
I almost actually, you know what? We should keep this in. Can I do a bit?
You can do a bit. You have my permission to do a bit.
So, for just to peel back the curtain here a little bit, we have gone even longer than we normally do. We've been talking for 80 minutes and are only now getting to the television show that we're here to talk about, the plot of the episode. And so Neal and I just had a brief off-mic panic at the sheer size of this unit. And we have
That's what
made
she
a pact.
said.
Oh, behave.
So I think that we can get through the rest of this discussion with minimal tangents like that one I just did, and not be here for the rest of our lives talking about Kreeya. So that's what we're going to try to do. I think this is like the tangents are all front loaded. So, you know, dedicated listeners are still going to get the tangent experience.
Let's just get right into it.
Do you want to talk about Mortal Kombat Conquest now?
Hey, that's your line. All right, let's do it. So we open up immediately. My first note says, "Mines, baby."
My first note says, that fucking growl, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, we get
Because the Shao Kahn fucking growls, and it is just bizarre.
we get the Shao Kahn twice. The Shao Kahn
They
guard
use it twice
in this episode.
It's shameless.
Which it's really, really fucking me up because I'm on record on this podcast of having just noticed it the one time. I've watched this series multiple times before.
Did you block it out?
You know what I used to do is I used to watch it on the treadmill at the gym.
You fucking weirdo.
Well, it helped me.
I'm picturing somebody walking by.
No, because I'd watch it on my phone on the treadmill at the gym.
And the treadmill's got like a big fold-out screen, like your truck has, and it's just a big old. There's just a big old Omegis just right on the middle of this treadmill, and everybody's like, "What's this man doing?"
Yeah, I got a little self-conscious a few times when when that would be what was on
Damn it.
screen, but
We're doing tangents again. Beans.
I know we just fucking immediately fail every time we sit down, and we're like,
Somebody blast us for instantly failing.
every time we sit down, and we're gonna be like, we're gonna knock this
Oh,
motherfucker
I'm sorry.
out
Are
in
we
an
too
hour.
good of friends?
Yeah, no regrets, man. Ugh. All right, but yeah, so
No rules, just right. Outback Steakhouse.
So, like, I guess it was like 6 or 7 episodes in before we first saw him. So that's the point where I think it started to become background viewing for me in general. So I just happened to miss it every single time. And I went through this series 2 or 3 times before we started covering it on the podcast because it was just...
Sounds like you're a fake fan.
Okay. No, I'm just an inattentive fan. Yeah, so we get the Shao Kahn guard immediately, and we cut down to the mines, and Shang Tsung's just sort of walking through the mines while people are banging on rocks.
Looking at a jacked dude.
Yeah, just dudes everywhere. Shao Kahn, fuck me, Shang Tsung,
Welcome to the party, pal.
just walking around, literally looking hot because he's all like sweaty and shit.
Looking wet.
Yeah, look,
Sorry, I'm so sorry about that.
literally because he like washes his face.
I'm sorry about that time I said that Bruce Locke looked wet.
You did say that recently, didn't you?
I think I've definitely said it more than once.
God. So Bruce Locke's looking wet. He's washing his face in the mines, and suddenly one of the ripped dudes who was just banging on a rock,
Ah, a knife.
boom, stabbed. Shang Tsung turns around and he just gets fucking attacked by like 3 or 4 three Amazon women.
My note says, "Oh my god, what is this tribe of warrior women ?
Warrior women is a good phrase for us to use for the warrior women throughout this episode. Let's hold on to warrior women like
It's a
our
good thing
lives
to call them
depend on
because
it.
that's what they are.
We're going to address this up front now. 100% of the warrior women are dressed in tiny leather bikinis. Some of them are like extremely egregious. I do not want to focus on that.
It is like this show. We make fun of this show a lot for how aggressively sexualized the costuming can be.
This is a different level, though.
This is beyond the pale.
This makes
it goes so far that it just sucks.
crazy.
You know, like
Crazy fishnets lady in the Zhu Zhen B role is dressed conservatively compared to these women.
and this is not us saying that that's not allowed.
No.
However, what we are saying is we know that likely a bunch of dudes decided how these women were going to dress.
Yes.
And guess what? It's too fucking much, fellas. Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, this is Melina's bandage costume from Mortal Kombat 9 levels of egregious. This is egregious Philbin.
I was going to try to make a joke about Omegis egregious, but I like yours better.
All right.
I didn't actually have a joke. All I had was those words sound similar.
Now that we've addressed it, we don't have to bring it up every time the warrior women are on screen. Just know.
I didn't think we were going to bring it up every time. That would have been weird.
Yeah, I just want to get out in front of that. So if that's your thing, go watch this episode.
This episode's for you.
Yeah.
If you are like, hey, you know what I could use more of in my life? Just a bunch of bikini-clad warrior ladies. I've got good news.
There's a lot of them in this episode. Okay. All right. So,
And if you don't think that, skip it.
So these warrior women, they bust in. They demand Shang Tsung surrenders to them, and he straight up tries to like start using his sweet green magic against them. But they have some kind of a weird crystal medallion that absorbs his magic, like takes it away from him, right?
Permanently, as long as it's in like range.
Yeah.
Like-
So then he's like, I don't need my magic to stop you. And then he just fucking starts fighting. It has been a minute since we've seen a Shang Tsung fight, right? Like we mostly see him giving orders and eating lizards while lounging on a rock. So I was excited to see Bruce Locke, I was excited to see Shang Tsung like get to fucking rumble again, right? And he is absolutely getting his ass kicked. But I do have a note that Shang Tsung fights are really fucking good. Whatever the fight style that he uses, I don't know what it is. Seems, as a layman, somebody uneducated, it seems very Tai Chi adjacent, at least, right? Like it's a lot of graceful moves and like
Combat Tai Chi.
and like soaring acrobatics, sort of kicking
If you
and stuff like that.
split kicks, this episode is we got split kicks, baby.
Yeah, it's dope. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, when Vorpax fights, she's also
Dude, Vorpax, I can't fucking wait till we get to that fight. Her style, I swear she was not doing that last time we watched her fight. It's fucking wild. It's awesome.
Shang Tsung gets his ass handed to him by these warrior women, right? And then Vorpax comes in, and he's like he's like on the ground on his knees, like fucking dizzy, right? And he's like, "What are you waiting for?" Right? And she says, "Nothing." And then she hits him across the face.
And it's amazing, and I screamed.
It fucking rules. And then she says, "Do you really expect me to fight the Emperor's warriors?" And he's like, "The Emperor."
My emperor, bitch! What's up? Let's fucking go, dude. I just want Vorpax to be happy.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
The lead
That's all I want in my life.
The lead warrior woman hands her the crystal that took Shang Tsung's magic, and she puts it on. Holy shit! So this is it,
And then
right?
we just start whooping at the screen.
So all the way back in Warrior Eternal Part 1, when she was acting so disgusted because she had made an alliance with Shang Tsung, and she like was shocked to hear that he was a human. And then when she was talking about how she's actually like a powerful warrior, like this is it. We're getting Vorpax's story. This episode, we get Vorpax's backstory. Fucking finally. She's not a human, is she?
Evidently not.
I do. Okay, maybe this is a good time to point out that the official episode description that I have refers to.
Oh, it's so funny.
Refers to the warrior women as aliens.
My very first note was this episode sounds fucking mental.
Yeah. So from here, we immediately cut over to Shao Kahn's palace, and fucking Reiko is there, right? Head of middle management, Reiko, General
And-
Reiko.
This is not a dismiss on the actor. He looks like a dude who might be in middle management if he wasn't dressed up for a Kiss concert in a ninja outfit.
Yeah, he's wearing.
Just sort of looks like a guy.
He's Reiko as we see him in his debut in Mortal Kombat 4, where he's wearing the ninja outfit, the ninja costume, but it's maroon colored, and he's got the Kiss eye makeup around his eyes, and he's talking to Shao Kahn, and Shao Kahn is just like fucking pissed. He's talking about how his realm has been invaded, right? Reiko says it was 50 invaders, and they were all female, and they all made it into the cobalt mines, and they have taken Shang Tsung, right?
And they say it seems like it was too easy. They don't know how it worked. And then Shao Kahn says some unfortunate shit. How could just a handful of women steal my sorcerer?
Yeah. Interesting that
Which, that's the whole thing.
Interesting that as much as they seem to hate each other, he's still referring to Shang Tsung as his sorcerer, right? Like you imprisoned the dude in the mines, right? Like they've
Also,
been plotting against each other plenty.
I think it's a possessive my sorcerer.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think it's a friendly my sorcerer.
Yeah, you're right.
Like
You're right.
like if you got captured by approximately 50 warrior women, I would say my co-host. But I would mean it in the way you're saying and not the way Shao Kahn is saying it.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Um,
And if you got kidnapped and captured by 50 warrior women, I would say, fuck, I have to find a new co-host.
it wouldn't be that hard. And so, really quick, now is where I'm going to address two things.
Yeah.
One, it's fun in this episode seeing Outworld in like crisis management mode.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
Shao Kahn tries to keep his cool, but here we're just getting a dude who's like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, what's happening? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Get me my shadow priests.
Yes, he calls us shadow priests. Shadow priests.
And he's got a big fucking stupid staff he brings to go see them.
So we've seen shadow priests we see them in the movie. We also see them in the backgrounds a lot in Mortal Kombat 2, in the portal stage for sure. There's another one I can't pull the name of. And then we see them a lot in Shaolin Monk. So this is another thing pulled from the Mortal Kombat games.
Yeah, totally. The other thing I want to point out really quick is just visually something that's immediately noticeable and persists throughout the whole episode for frankly inexplicable reasons. Somebody bumped into the color generating machine.
Oh boy.
At Mortal Kombat Conquest HQ because what the fuck happened? They're simultaneously muddled and vibrant. Like Vorpax looks so fucking green.
Yeah.
Like, and Taj's shirt, because they're two bright colors, it's so fucking purple. And like the cobalt mines are so weirdly blue. And it's like, how did this happen? The whole shit looks fucked up.
They were really trying some shit on this episode. But yeah, no, you're totally right. Like Shao Kahn is losing it, and he progressively loses it more and more throughout this episode. And I'll tell you right now, troubles aren't over for him and Kreeya at the end of this. And paranoid Shao Kahn is going to persist through the rest of the series. And it fucking rules.
I will take your word for it that it rules.
I actually really like it because like we're seeing him, this untouchable conqueror, like start to feel threatened for the first time. I think the only time in anything Mortal Kombat that we see Shao Kahn legit feeling threatened. And I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that it's breaking the facade a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's a long time coming.
Right. But for now, we're going to go over to Zhu Zhen, and Taja is making deals, right, at the trading post. She's talking to a nice woman. She's trying to sell her like a really nice textile of some sort. Looks like maybe silk or something super luxurious.
And she's loving it. She's loving it.
And the woman is into it. She's like, yes, I love this. I want this, right?
Oh, yeah, love this in my hands.
Then the woman's shitty man comes up, and he's like, no, we're going to take this cheap...
shit heel Frasier.
We're going to take this...
All men are Frasier now, sorry.
Hashtag AMAF.
Hashtag ACAB AMAF.
Yeah, so the woman's shitty man comes up, and he's like, no, we're not going to get that nice one. We're going to get this ugly green one because it's cheaper, right? And he's like, I'm the man. I make the decisions.
Well, because Tosh is like, well, actually, I think she likes this one.
Right.
And then he's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm a man.
And then fucking... So Taja's pissed, rightfully pissed at this, because fuck that guy. And then Zero comes over, and like the first thing he does is like tell Taja... He basically gives Taja
Don't piss the customers off.
Yeah, hey, calm down, right? Let's not alienate the customers. And then the shitty dude is just shittier than Zero was in doing that. And he's like, oh, finally, a man, someone I can actually deal with. And Zero's like, oh, deal with this motherfucker. And he like kicks him out of the trading post.
So here's the problem, too. So...
There's... The problem?
Here's one of 800 problems with this scene.
Yeah.
So Zero basically tells Taja she's being too emotional, and then, rightfully, as established, kicks that guy out. But he makes a big scene of it, and it's this whole outrage, and you can hear off screen how pissed he is.
Yeah.
And then Zero goes to the lady who didn't get the thing she wanted,
right,
and is like, hey, if he hits you, if he hits you, tell me.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, Zero, you know when there wasn't a risk for domestic violence at all? When you weren't fucking instigating it by violently throwing the bad man out of the store.
Beyond that, like, he's now put her in a... I mean, yes, he's absolutely now put her in a more dangerous...
her in danger.
I mean, we don't know. Like, maybe he was doing that shit anyway, but this is certainly going to make it happen more if he already was, and might make it happen for the first time if he wasn't. He has definitely made the situation worse any way you slice it. And Zero is now walking away from that confrontation, not actually having to deal with the consequences that the poor woman shopper is most certainly going to have to fucking deal with.
That's at least the rest of that couple's week.
Yeah, at the very least.
Dealing with this.
Yeah, it fucking sucks, right? And so, like, this also makes the assumption that if the man loses his shit and takes it out on his wife, presumably his wife, that she's going to be able to get away and go seek help. Like, it's problematic in a lot of ways. And that's just the first of many instances that we're going to be seeing this shit, right? So immediately Taja's like, typical man, right? Typical man being a piece of shit and trying to control his wife. And then Ciro's like, hey, whoa, come on. Not all men are like this.
This fucking guy, you know, he's a bit of a schmoozer. He's a bit of a womanizer. We have not seen Ciro at his best in all moments. However, and this is the crux of the entire problem with this episode's attempt to do anything about gender at all.
Yeah.
Is, Taja's whole take is stupid. Let's start there. It's like the whole, just like, you know, everything would be better if women ran it. I have my doubts. I think some people are good and some people are bad.
Sure.
Whatever.
You're Kung Lao this.
I'm being a fucking stupid centrist about it, like Kung Lao is. Take a side, Kung Lao. Come on. Commit to something for once.
Yeah.
But Ciro literally saying not all men is like, and this is why, this is it. This is the reason none of this works. Because it's the same reason that not all men as a statement does not work.
Right.
It's because the statement not all men is ignoring the fact that one of the reasons, I should say, men are capable of doing all the terrible shit that men do is that social structures are built around facilitating those things in a way that women cannot reciprocate. Mm-hmm. It is not allowed just in society as it is currently built. That is the whole point. So the not all men comment is a blatant refusal to engage with the fact that it is not necessarily an individual comment being made about that particular thing, but rather that men overall have the power and flexibility to do those things.
Ciro's a big dummy in the show in general. The smallest of props to him for acknowledging that guy was an ass, but any goodwill he earned from doing that has been taken away by the fact that he has most certainly increased the chances that this woman shopper is going to be in danger, and also he has walked away from any of the consequences of that and is now defending men against Taja, who, yes, was having an emotional reaction that coexisted with Ciro also having a very selfish emotional reaction when he decided to threaten that guy and throw him out. Right.
Right. And again, perfect example. He's not thinking about the consequences of his fucking actions.
Sure.
And
so
I get this is popcorn television, and the writers probably didn't think 20 years from now 2 dipshits were going to get on microphones and nitpick why their view of society is wrong. But hey, that's what analyzing art is. Get used to it.
Generous with the categorizing of this show as art. All right.
Greatest show on television.
It's pretty fucking good. Yeah. Okay.
Eat your heart out.
So
angry men.
So Ciro and Taja get into
Mad men, get it?
get into a small debate about men versus women, and they turn to Kung Lao for his opinion, and Kung Lao at this point is like,
he says,
"Oh
I'm
no,
not getting involved.
I'm not getting involved in this one.
You can't opt out of this. What are you talking about?" And I guess ultimately he doesn't, but like it's just like what a fucking centrist. This guy won't take a stand on any.
And then Raiden, protector of Earthrealm,
And then Raiden just fucking shows up.
God of Thunder, appears and tells Kung Lao that not getting involved in this is a good idea.
I had to keep pausing this episode because I was laughing at it. This is a great example of why.
Smart move, Kung Lao. Do not get involved in this conversation about gender
Raiden
inequality.
hates identity politics confirmed.
So Raiden is now here, and he is giving the combat crew the news that Outworld was invaded.
And he's excited about it.
He is. He's like, Outworld was fucking invaded. It was like 50 warrior women. And Taja is like psyched about this, right? She's like, hell yeah. Shao Kahn just got beaten, embarrassed, and emasculated by a bunch of women.
And don't get
Fuck
me
yes.
and don't get us wrong up to this point. She's right.
Yeah, at this point in the show, we're also like, fuck yeah, good. And then Raiden just leaves. He just leaves. right?
This is the weirdest Raiden departure yet. And I'm going to go ahead and say now that we will get in this show. What the fuck was that? He shows up and just says, like, shit's crazy out there. Shit's popping in Outworld. Bye-bye.
Nope.
And he just fucking vanishes.
He's just gone. He just leaves. Poof, gone. Popped in to say, good idea, Kung Lao. Don't get involved in a conversation about gender.
He's like, no, here's the problem. Because one of two things could be happening.
Mm-hmm.
He could be being just a lame centrist, and that sucks. Or Raiden is making the argument that we should abolish gender, and he is correct.
Yeah, you know what? I think Raiden is the most progressive person on Mortal Kombat Conquest, for sure.
Put it in the wiki, asked and answered.
Yes. No, he does have
Raiden, the god, wants to abolish gender, and he's right.
He does like his tall blondes, but he certainly doesn't specify a gender in that proclamation, so...
Raiden will fuck anybody.
Okay. That part's staying in for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the goal.
So now we're back with Shao Kahn briefly, and he's got his Shadow Priest, and I thought this was kind of sick. Sick in a good way, kind of gross also. They're reading the blood of one of the fallen warrior women.
Did you say reading the blood?
Yeah, they're reading the blood of one of the fallen warrior women.
I don't even remember. Wait.
Yeah. Yes, they're reading the blood. One of the warrior women died in the invasion. I don't know if it was one of the ones we saw.
R.I.P.
Kidnapping Shang Tsung. But yeah, that's literally what they're doing. They're reading the blood. They're identifying, like, I don't know if they're like memories or some shit are stored in blood. I don't know. Maybe it's just blood because it's Mortal Kombat and that shit's cool. But they are able to somehow identify the name of the leader of the warriors, and the Shadow Priest identifies their leader as Kreeya. And Shao Kahn is like, I will...
Creative.
I will... Kreeya with a K.
Kreeya. Probably a killer Scrabble word.
Kreeya, as heard in the Mortal Kombat Conquest roll call in our Mythologies episodes. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Kreeya.
And Shao Kahn is super fucking pissed, and he's immediately like losing his shit. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking crush her. Holy shit. What does she think she's doing attacking me and my realm and my people, right? And then
Look at my big staff.
Where the fuck is she? And the Shadow Priest is like, she's in Earthrealm right now. And he's like, fuck, I can't do anything. She's in Earthrealm.
A lot of this episode is actually about the technicalities of the Mortal Kombat rules.
Yes. We get a lot of interesting stuff about the rules of fucking Mortal Kombat rules. What the fuck else am I gonna say? And like how Raiden can and can't interact with things. It kind of clears a few things up. It clears up why Raiden is such a schmarmy, hands-off dick most of the time. So now we're gonna check in with the warrior women, right? The warrior ladies, they have Shang Tsung hostage. Is he like tied to a pole at this point, or is he just in chains?
I think he's just in chains. He might be chained to a pole, actually.
Yeah, he's definitely chained. He's definitely on a leash a lot in this episode. Like literally a collar and a leash, which is some shit that made me think about some shit.
Hey man, it's a wet Bruce Locke and he's all chained up. Vorpax is just fucking manhandling him.
Yeah. First of all, as established last week, we're not here to kink shame. Second of all, Vorpax...
In fact, I think we're here to like kink champion in this case.
Yes. Yeah. So
sure, fine. Put a gun to my head. It's hot. Okay, what about it? What?
So the warrior ladies, they have Shang Tsung hostage, all chained up and bound and shit like that. And Vorpax comes in and she's like, gotcha, dick. I fucking hate you. I'm so psyched you're captured. And I cannot fucking wait to get my revenge on you.
I'm fucking hooting and hollering. I'm loving it.
Yes.
I'm clapping. I'm doing laps around my room. She's straight up like grabbing him by the face.
Yes.
Being like, I'm going to fucking make your life hell.
Yeah.
I'm going to ruin shit for you. You didn't kill me, but you basically killed me.
Yes.
I'm dead inside, and I'm going to fuck you up.
Unfortunately, she says, unfortunately, my queen needs you for something. But fucking rest assured, I am going to pay you back for all the torture you put me through down in the mines. Hell yeah, Vorpax.
It's the best.
It really is.
This is the most cathartic shit we will ever get on this show.
Yeah, it's super great. I'm so glad. 16 episodes in, and finally Vorpax is like...
Good thing we have many seasons left for more of this character development.
So Vorpax talks a little bit about her role, and her role is to prepare the way for Kreeya, who is conquering other realms, right? And then, bam, fucking Queen Kreeya enters.
She's got the world's largest shoulder pads. I don't like how I said that. It sounds weird. I know that was the joke I was making, but it sounds weird.
She's dressed like a sexy version of Zod from Superman 2.
Jesus Christ. She's got, like, big, poofy shoulders.
Yeah.
And a big updo. She's ready to hit the town. And what she's actually going to hit instead is Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah. So my notes kind of skip. I don't remember the full exchange between Kreeya and Shang Tsung. I just like jumped right to the part where she's talking to Vorpax, and they're just kind of like giving us some vague information about whatever their plan is, and that they need 2 days to do it, and that's when they're going to be the most vulnerable, right? And Kreeya's asking Vorpax about, like, she's like, we need allies in this realm. We need warriors.
Hey, Vorpax, do you know a local gang of tough warriors? Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, they're called the Combat Crew. They hang out at the Combat Club, formerly Rayland Imports. There's actually a really cool podcast about them called MK Podquest if you want to listen to a few episodes.
Tracy Douglas, come on the show.
Please, Tracy Douglas.
Leave us a voicemail.
Tracy Douglas, if you hear this, we love you.
We're going to put this episode in a bottle and send it out to sea. This is the part of the episode where I became concerned that it was going to revolve around rescuing Shang Tsung, and I was not entirely wrong.
Yeah.
I have a note that says, I am worried this is going to revolve around saving Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
It says specifically that, and then it says, oh my god, look at her costume. Those fucking shoulders, man. She's truly peacocking it.
She looks great. I'm going to say it. This is like high fashion. This is like couture Mortal Kombat fashion right here.
Mortal Couture with a K for kill, like the video game.
Gamers, let's keep
Mortal
going.
Killbat.
All right. So yeah, so Kreeya's asking.
Big Violence, the video game.
All right.
Welcome to Big Violence Conquest.
So Vorpax is like, oh yeah, I know some local warriors, right? There's this guy named Kung Lao, and he's got these friends named Zero and Taja. And actually, Kung Lao won the last Mortal Kombat tournament, and they fucking hate Outworld. And Kreeya's like, oh shit, they won Mortal Kombat against Outworld. We're on the same side. I hope they're going to join us. Go talk to them, Vorpax, right?
Hit him up.
Yeah, post something on their Facebook wall. Maybe slide into their DMs and see if they're like up for meeting. So back in Zhuzhen, Taja and Zero are still arguing about if men or women are superior, and Kung Lao gives his centrist opinion. He says, "I believe that women are just as capable as men, which also means they're just as capable of screwing things up." And that's like a real oversimplification that we don't need to
This whole
harp
thing
on.
is an oversimplification,
Right.
But like, again, you're missing the whole fucking point. It's not an incorrect statement, but you're missing the whole point.
You are
Like-
right because you're examining the symptom,
Because
not the system.
These things, like those assumptions, exist within broader systems.
Right. Basically, what he's saying is like if we put women in charge, they are just as capable of screwing up all of the institutions that were put in place by men for men.
All of our broken, fucked up, terrible institutions.
So anyway, but Raiden pops back in, right? And they're like, hey, Raiden, have you figured out what's going on yet? You know, because you just disappeared before. And he's like, I still don't know who the warrior women are. But I do remember an old legend I heard thousands of years ago about a seed.
And then Raiden instantly implies that by saying this, he does know exactly who they are. He just doesn't want to tell them.
Totally. But yeah, it's vague enough language because the whole speech he gives is about a seed that traveled the universe and blew from realm to realm and took root. And wherever it flowered, there was beauty and peace, but sometimes it brought death and chaos. And he gives this whole narration over this scene of Queen Kreeya walking through the woods, looking hot, and then literally looking hot, like temperature-wise, as she sort of just starts glowing with light.
And it hurts.
And like looks like she's in pain, and she falls to the ground, and this really silly, mossy, brushy nest forms around her.
Yes.
And
What
then
we learn is sort of a hive.
yes. And then she steps out of this mossy hive nest just as Raiden says, all I know is something new has stepped into Earthrealm. Kind of cool, honestly. I mean, I was kind of into the way they lined all those things up. And then as Kreeya is stepping out of the nest, it starts glowing, right?
And also, credit where it's due. This is new territory for Mortal Kombat.
It really fucking is.
Like, they're taking a swing here in doing this.
Yeah, they're establishing a new big bad original, not just a character, but like a realm and a race
force
of warriors, this hive thing. It reminds me a bit of, well, I guess what I should say is Devora.
It retroactively reminds you of Devora.
It reminds me of, yes, Devora, right? And the, what is her race? The Chitin? There's a little bit of an insect element to Kreeya and her people, but we'll talk about that shortly. Real quick, we'll check in with paranoid Shao Kahn and Reiko. They're walking the mines. They're checking out damage. We find out that there was a warrior who survived the attack, but he can't talk yet. Reiko is like suggesting that maybe Kreeya is trying to force Shang Tsung to fight against Outworld. Shao Kahn is wondering if all the shit he put Shang Tsung through might cause Shang Tsung to willingly join Kreeya to get revenge on Shao Kahn. So Shao Kahn's really sort of now, for the first time, I think, potentially ever in the history of Mortal Kombat, before or since, like, examining his own behavior.
Considering the consequences of his actions.
That's all that really happens in Outworld.
Also, really quick, I actually had a complaint. I just saw the note here. Raiden says that it travels the universe.
Yes.
And through the realms. And I didn't understand the distinction he was making.
I don't think that they knew.
Are the realms the universe, or is the universe made up of the realms? Because I was under the impression that Earthrealm as a universe is just separate from other realms.
Right. I don't think at this point in Mortal Kombat lore they had solidified some of these concepts. I think that's all it is. It's just a case of that, right?
We have the luxury of living in the future.
And Raiden, who knows of the existence of the realms and is a god and can probably travel freely between them because he's so powerful, his definition of universe may encompass all of it. Like the concept of the universe is probably bigger to Raiden than it is to somebody on Earthrealm in general, right? I think that's mostly what that was.
Sure.
But now we're back at the combat club, and Zero is coming in, coming home, gets in the front door.
Honey, I'm home.
Immediately, he's calling out for Taja, right? Boom! It's Vorpax there with some warrior ladies.
Vorpax is there in that robe that she does for sleuthing. She's like, "Hey, I want to talk."
She's in her sneaky robe, her sneaky hood, and she's immediately like, "Taja isn't here, but I wanna." And before she can even fucking finish her sentence,
Zero fucking kicks her right in the face.
Yes,
like he doesn't even think. He's just like, "You're getting blasted." Like, I don't care.
Fuck, bad person, and he attacks her immediately. And then the other warrior women like jump in, right? And we get another cool fight.
And the music sounds like fucking Ridge Racer. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Sounds like 90s arcade music, like, you know,
hell yeah,
you get it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to onomatopoeia my way through Ridge Racer music, but you get it.
So Zero just immediately starts kicking her and her girls. And man, Zero's not doing well in this fight, especially once Vorpax sort of rallies and jumps in. And I'm so fucking happy we get to see Vorpax fight again, right? And again,
the fucking spins on Vorpax.
Yeah.
The fucking spins and her really low, weird stance.
Yeah.
She's like flipping around and
It's
doing
like
really low splits and kicks and spins. I'm describing it like a 5-year-old, but it's really cool.
It's like Mantis style kung fu or something. Again, I'm not an expert, but like that's the way her stance and her positioning and her strikes, they remind me of that. Like, again, they really do put like specific styles on specific characters, and I really wish I knew more. This episode where we were getting a Vorpax fight, a Shang Tsung fight, and we're getting just our sort of standard Mortal Kombat fights, like really hit it home for me. Like, God, you really do see a big difference in the way each character fights, and I just wish I could talk about it with more nuance and education.
If Vorpax had a lightsaber, people would still be talking about this scene.
Hell yeah. Yes, they would.
That is my argument for why this is so good.
You summed it up beautifully. But at
or
some
maybe that's
point,
the problem with Star Wars. I don't know.
Maybe. I do want to say, towards the end of the fight, Vorpax does a jump backflip kick that looks better than Kung Lao's jump backflip kick.
Oh yeah, she's got that one down to a science.
Hell yeah. She's a force to be fucking reckoned with. And at some point, she pulls a knife and she's able to subdue Zero.
And Tasha's like, "Hey, why are you knifing my friends?" And she's like, "He didn't give me a chance to explain."
Yeah, Tasha comes in. She's like, what the fuck? And Vorpax is like, no. It's not what you think it is.
You'd think by now that Raylan Imports would have run out of empty crates to kick people through.
No.
But Zero does go through a couple.
Tasha keeps getting them off those wagons out on the road market.
Yeah, she is a importer exporter of like crates.
Number one. That's what Jason said that last week. He's like, what the fuck do they import? Crates and hay?
It's a real art vandal.
So they all settle down, and Vorpax gives them the spiel. She gives them the sales pitch. She's like, no, my queen is here, Kreeya. She wants to meet with you guys. Think it over, right? And she like reminds Taja. Taja's of course skeptical, and she's like, hey, Taja, remember when we were hanging out in the mines a few episodes ago? You know I fucking hate Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung, and Kreeya wants to eliminate them. So like, come on, sister. Talk it over with Kung Lao, and then come meet us. Come meet with Kreeya. And then she drops some geography, which I was really surprisingly into. She says that that Kreeya's camp lies just beyond the old Jiing Bridge.
We don't know where that is, but that's neat.
Nope, but we do know that Camp Kreeya is just beyond there.
And everybody gets commemorative t-shirts if they stay there for the whole summer. Zero and Taja show up. They sign up for softball. They go swimming.
They join the musical program. It's a it's a production.
Zero is a very adept.
It's a production of The Music Man, and the whole time Taja's like, why can't it be The Music Woman? Why is Camp Kreeya putting on a production of The Music Man?
I think it should be The Music Person. Zero's chugging a beer through a clarinet.
American Pie presents Camp Kreeya.
God, what I wouldn't give for that movie poster.
Okay. All right. So later on, they talk to Kung Lao about this whole plan, and Kung Lao is, of course, super skeptical, and he's like,
centrist, baby.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. I think the thing is that he's fucking right? He's right to be skeptical of this because it does sound too good to be true. So he basically just tells Zero and Taja to go check it out and give him a report, but he's not gonna do that. And this is the first. Is this the first time? Has he finally learned not to fall for bait?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but like this is...
I'm not prepared to say he has learned that lesson necessarily, because this so obviously has the potential to be that right. Even he could see it.
Okay, that's fair. So this is just like way obvious.
This is such an unknown.
Yeah,
that, like,
I do have one note here about a point that Zero makes, which is interesting and important for the episode, where he talks about how the only thing that's keeping Shao Kahn from invading right now is the Elder God's rules, but what are they going to do if he decides to just fucking break those rules, right?
We're getting the Mortal Kombat 3 argument.
Yeah, we're getting the Mortal Kombat 3 argument, the thing that we're going to see him do in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the thing that ultimately leads to his undoing in the new Mortal Kombat timeline, the idea that if Shao Kahn breaks the rules, the Elder Gods will intervene, right? But they don't know that, right? So they're just in the unknown of like, what happens if Shao Kahn decides, fuck the rules, Earthrealm is mine, what are we going to do?
Well, what his argument is, and Shao Kahn's argument is self-defense.
Yeah. But so Zero's like, we should eliminate Shao Kahn now. Then we don't have to worry about him breaking the rules. Then this shit is over with. And I think that probably, like, Kung Lao was probably thinking hard about that because he's so wishy-washy about his destiny and everything anyway. And that would certainly take the pressure off him for future Mortal Kombat tournaments because there wouldn't be any. But
right.
He still refuses to go meet Kreeya. Zero and Taj are going to bring him a report. So now we're at Camp Kreeya with a K, like Camp Krusty in The Simpsons. Thank you. And my first note is that it honestly kind of looks like a great place to hang out immediately, right? But also immediately, Zero makes a shitty joke about how they must have left all the ugly warriors at home.
Oh my god. And then Taja says like an equally stupid thing, which is maybe they all look like this.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like and then Zero's like, Zero literally says, maybe not in these exact words, but his whole point here is, oh man, these people are so hot. It's
Yeah.
a good thing I can respect them because I know they know how to fight. Otherwise, they would only be hot people to me and not human worth of my respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, dude, what are we doing? Like,
Man, I don't know.
and like, this is like so idyllic, it borders on hilarious.
It really
The
is.
music is like harps and lutes, and there's flowers everywhere, and everyone's like hugging and brushing each other's hair,
Yeah.
and giggling and shit. Like,
Yep.
it is. They've cranked the Utopia dial to like 76, and then they're like, "Oh, I hope being around all these powerful women doesn't make you uncomfortable, Zero. There's no men here.
Right.
We left them all at home. We just fuck the men. We don't do anything else with the men."
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, another stupid fucking thing to say.
Right,
Like,
yeah. So Zero and Taja get led into Kreeya's tent, and this is where that fucking that harp that we've
I shrieked at this. This
It
is
was-
so funny because I was
Yeah.
making a joke in my brain. I made a joke where I was like, "Oh, what? When's the lute gonna start playing?" And then
Yeah.
a harp started playing.
Yeah. And there's
I was
just
like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
there's just warrior women everywhere, and they're just sort of lounging and hanging out. I don't know. It's everything's all like silk looking, like luxurious textiles hanging everywhere, and everyone looks like they're just in.
It looks like everyone's 5 minutes from deciding to just get high.
It looks like a Greek bath.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
that's the thing they're aping on is like a very
Yeah.
like a Mount Olympus. Speaking of Hades,
Yes.
ass.
It's evoking that kind of like the Roman baths or whatever, where everyone is just like in a robe or in a what do they fucking call them? A toga, and just
Yeah.
sort of being decadent. And then Vorpax makes the introductions to Kreeya, and Kreeya like immediately starts with the compliments, and she's like, "Oh, Taja, a strong, fearless woman. Zero, you're a fighter with military prowess," which is
Zero,
something
you're
we've never
fucking
really
huge.
seen him exhibit. We just hear people talk about how he's got a military background and is from a military family. I've seen no evidence of Zero having strong military prowess.
No, he's got big biceps.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
she
Zero
means.
has.
Yes.
Zero's got big burly boy biceps.
Yeah, he does. Hell
The
yeah, he
four
does.
B's, big burly boy biceps. Put that shit on a mug. I can't start my day before I've had my 4 B's, big burly boy biceps.
Holy shit. So Kreeya asks where Kung Lao is, and they like explain like, listen, we've had a lot of like shitty stuff happen to us. Kung Lao is extremely cautious right now. And Kreeya's like, yeah, I totally understand that. And then she starts like giving him the sales spiel, right? About how like her culture and her people bring like beauty and knowledge and all of these kinds of things to the realms they go to. And that once they defeat Shao Kahn, everything's going to be just fucking awesome and idyllic and perfect, right?
And then they're like, okay,
Yeah.
how do you guys do that?
Well, first, Zero asks where the boys are, right?
He wants the boys in the yard.
Yeah. And Kreeya says that her milkshake keeps all the boys in the kitchen. Kreeya says her people, in her culture, the men stay at home and don't fight, and that the women fight. And then, that's when she's like, hey, Zero, I hope that doesn't make you uncomfortable, which had an interesting bit of subtext because we do know that for sure, 100% can't argue against it. Zero's totally into Kung Lao.
Oh, yeah, we know that. And, like, these are the titular big beefy boys, of course.
So then Kreeya's like, think over my offer, enjoy the camp, check things out, like you're cool here, right? And my next note just says that Vorpax looks so happy, right? She's happy.
She is smiling.
She's free.
Cheery as hell.
She's with her people.
It's great. She's a princess.
She's kind of a princess. That's what they say. She talks. Taja asks Vorpax how she ended up in the mines, and Vorpax says that she was sent to Outworld years ago as a spy. She made some kind of a mistake, and she ended up getting sent to the mines. So she hid her identity, knowing that her mother would come rescue her. And they're like, your mother? Kreeya's your mother? You're her daughter? Does that make you some kind of a princess? And Vorpax is like, yeah, in a way. But she also sort of brushes it off as like, we're all important to Kreeya, right? All of us. All of her children are important to Kreeya. But all I fucking focused in on was the fact that Vorpax is a fucking princess. A Disney princess.
Do you want my note?
Yeah.
It is, well, I'm gonna give it some build up. They're so outrageously soft-spoken, this really feels like kind of a cult, man.
Yeah.
You gotta read into these comments even a little bit. How are you asking no questions at all? Princess VORPAX, baby!
The only other important thing here is that we see another male man warrior. So if we have warrior women, we have warrior men, right? So we have another fighter man in the background, and Ciro's like, man, it's kind of weird seeing another man here, right? He's already like adjusted to women being everywhere and no men, and that's when VORPAX is like, oh yeah, that's another fighter who Kreeya requested to have an audience with, right? So like you brush that off as thinking, oh, they're just looking for allies, right? Yeah. So now we cut back to the combat club, and Kung Lao is there by himself because Ciro and Taja are still hanging out at the camp, I presume, right? I would be, honestly. And he's just walking around putting out the torches because it's nighttime, and he hears like a noise. He kind of senses a presence.
Kung Lao cannot do a single fucking thing in peace.
He hears a knock on the door, right? So he opens the doors up, and he's just confronted by like a chained up Shang Tsung, chained to a pole.
Yes.
Collar around his neck, all kinds of...
He's confronted by hot Shang.
And
hotter than usual.
And then Kreeya pops in with her big poofy shoulders, and she's like, hey, Kung Lao, I'm Kreeya. I got you a gift.
You don't get to keep it.
Shang Tsung is looking fucking salty and humiliated, and Kreeya's like, this guy...
Oh, yeah, he's hating it.
Yeah.
He's hating it.
He's so fucking, like, he's embarrassed, right? And Kreeya's like, I just came to talk to you because you didn't come meet with us. Let me see if I got a few things straight here. So this guy, Shang Tsung, was your enemy, and you had the chance to kill him, but you didn't. And Kung Lao's like, yeah, that's right.
He's like, yeah, why do people keep telling me that?
You can hear the regret a little bit in his voice, too, right?
Oh, yeah, Kung Lao is on site, ready to go.
Yeah.
Like...
He's tense as fuck. And she's like, you and I really think alike. Can I talk with you for a while, right? And, okay, so this was absolutely me reading into it, because I rewound this scene several times to see if I was picking up on this or not. And I've come to the conclusion that I was reading into this. But when Kreeya asks if she can talk to Kung Lao about joining her, he looks at Shang Tsung, and Shang Tsung looks at him.
Yeah.
And you can see the subtlest of almost like Shang Tsung was almost nodding. Right? Like,
I would accept if you're going to argue that was foreshadowing.
Maybe. But
I would accept your argument.
But it looked like Kung Lao was looking at Shang Tsung for... Fuck, I just dropped the word.
Sex.
Fuck. Now this is staying in. He was looking at Shang Tsung for like confirmation that he should do this, right? Like,
yeah.
Shang Tsung was
realistically, he probably felt that Shang Tsung genuinely had more insight than he did into something that Kung Lao doesn't know anything about.
Right.
Kung Lao has the presence of mind to be willing to put grievances aside enough to maybe attempt to get a read on that.
Yeah, and I can almost believe that as the intention, because it's clear that Shang Tsung has like disgust and hatred for Shao Kahn, and he may be more on board with the idea of getting rid of him than he's letting on, right? That like if he had been given the choice willingly and freely, he probably would have sided with Kreeya against Shao Kahn, at least short term, right? Of course, he's still going to be looking after himself in the end. So I don't know if that was actually there or if I'm reading into it, if I'm just becoming a Shang Tsung Kung Lao shipper at this point. Anyway, I just wanted to...
Is it Kung Tsung or Shang Lao?
It would be Kung Tsung for sure.
Okay.
Shang Lao sounds good too, but Kung Tsung...
Let the men hang out.
Well,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and
let them fight.
It would definitely shake things up. You know,
it would objectively be better. End of sentence. Actually, it would objectively be better.
Kung Lao agrees. He agrees to talk to Kreeya, right? And Kreeya's like, all right, warrior ladies, take Shang Tsung back to Camp Kreeya, right? So Kung Lao asks what she's going to do with Shang Tsung, and she's like, well, I'm going to do the same thing that you did. I'm going to spare him, but I'm not going to free him, right?
I wrote, deeply worried Kung Lao will team up with Shang. I just saw that. Deeply worried.
So Kreeya says that her empire has places secure enough to hold somebody like Shang Tsung.
Which apparently by what she means is a cage.
Well,
a cage in a big circus tent.
I think she was more referring to her crystal that like kept his magic away, so that then you could just easily lock him in a cage and he couldn't get out. But that's the other thing we should notice, is that Kreeya is in fact wearing that crystal around her neck. VORPAX gave it to her earlier That's important. That's an important note.
They do apparently have multiple of them, though. Just like we see more than one person wear one.
That probably has nothing to do with just continuity mistakes. So she says her empire has places secure enough to hold him. Kung Lao is immediately like, your empire? And she's like, hey, whoa, cool, it's cool, my empire.
Whoa, who's calling it an empire? And it's like, you did.
Yeah, she's like, okay, but I didn't mean empire. I didn't mean like Shao Kahn's empire. My empire is a different empire.
And Kung Lao's like, do you conquer people?
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, but
she's like, well, in a sense, right? Because
we
typically
do it our way. She's talking like a fucking tech startup. Look, you've seen Conquering the Realms, but you've never seen the quirky way we do it.
She's a realm disruptor. Is that?
We're really changing the realm conquering game industry with this.
We bring gig economies to other realms.
And we encourage a cooperative atmosphere by crushing dissent.
And all of the break rooms in our realms have beanbag chairs and ping pong tables.
And harps.
So yeah.
A harpist on every street corner. That's my promise for America.
She paints it as like we don't really conquer realms, we rescue them. We bring them all of this knowledge and cool shit that they don't have. And then they just kind of ask us to stay. She does admit, this is where she admits that her species mates with other realms. And from it, something new is born, right? Like they combine, she's like, we're parasites, but like a cool kind of parasite, not like the xenomorph, right?
And Kung Lao's like, wait. How do your realms eventually just become one with you guys? How does that work? And she's like,
fucking
was hoping you weren't gonna ask.
Yeah.
So over time, who knows how long really,
we fuck the mortals away.
We do that, and we also erase all the remnants of their culture.
Yep. Yeah.
Because ours is objectively better.
We have a race of warrior women who conquer other realms through consensual sex.
Well, that's the implication. That's ultimately not even right. Because how they do it is they just overrun it with people until. And again, this is the exact thing that literally in real life is the problem with how settler colonialism actually works. So it's weird that they're kind of presenting it like the show itself is still not fully committed to the bit of this is actually bad, because what she's saying they do, because with their objectively superior culture, is show up and attempt to assimilate the indigenous population to the point where it is no longer visible.
Yeah.
Gang? That's bad.
Horny colonialism.
Ugh. I hate that. That's the worst thing we've ever said on the show.
Somehow this conversation works, though, and Kung Lao agrees to go back to the camp, right? And check everything out. So he meets up with Zero and Taja there. And Zero and Taja are kind of into it. Taja comments on how all the women are flawless. And then she does this weird thing where she compares what Kreeya and her people do to what humans do to breed better cattle and stronger animals and better dogs and shit like that. And how nature does that also. The sick die off and the strong survive and have stronger progeny and all of that kind of shit. Like
Taj, hey, can you come over here for a second? There's one thing I have to tell you. Just come here. Neal, can you give me a second? I need to talk to Taj.
Yeah. You got it. I'll take my headphones off.
Yeah. Hey. So, it's great to see you active in the episode. It's really cool. We're glad you're here. You are advocating for eugenics. Yeah, I know, right? Pretty fucked up.
Hey, Corey, I don't have my headphones.
Yeah.
Tell her about the eugenics thing.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm gonna get there. So that thing you said where it's cool that other people are choosing what traits are considered objectively superior and are actively killing either directly or indirectly people who don't possess desirable traits. Yeah, that's what the Nazis thought that was cool. And I just thought you should know that that's fucking bad, man. And I want to give you this chance right now. If you want to go back and like correct it, you can. If you feel that way, it's Jujin. I get it. Shit's crazy out here. But you can't go around saying, I think the eugenics hive of hot harp ladies is onto something. You do not, in fact, have to hand it to them. That's all. Okay, Neal, we're good. We're good. If you want to.
What? You good?
Yeah, we're good.
Did you tell her
She's
about
good. Yeah.
Okay.
We covered the eugenics thing. I used the line. Remember when we talked like you don't have to hand it to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Taja. Sorry, I missed your live Facebook signing. I was working on Saturday. Okay. Your meet
It
and
was
greet.
Tasha's live Facebook.
Sorry, I missed your virtual meet and greet. I was working.
God, this scene fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's
They have no idea. The writers no longer have any idea what their point is.
they're off the fucking rails. Right. So
it's also like, I feel like hidden in all of this too is Zero is like, look, even if, and this is a big if, this is how they conquer realms, it's going to take what, centuries?
Right.
That's not our problem, which means that he would say climate change isn't real.
Oh, he's already been a Mortal Kombat denier. We already identified Zero as someone who would
Zero
be
is a climate change denier.
climate change denier.
And he's like, well, even if it's real, it doesn't matter because we'll all be dead. And it's like, newsflash, dipshit, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a fucking problem, bro.
This show loves unwittingly planting its flag on the worst takes imaginable.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Unwittingly. I feel like at least some of this is unwittingly.
yeah, at least there's some consistency with Zero's character, though. Like, that's kind
Whoa.
of interesting. All right.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
So at this point, Vorpax shows up, and she wants to take the crew to see this demonstration of Queen Kreeya's, right? And so she takes them out into the woods, and this is the scene. There are other Earthrealm bro warriors in attendance here, right? There are other ones walking around the camp, other ones looking for audiences with Kreeya. And they go out to the woods to see this demonstration. And the demonstration is where Kreeya shows all the Earthrealm people this poor woman who they all say is a leper, somebody with leprosy. She's got boils and stuff all over her face, right? And Kreeya says, "This is what my people can offer you." She cuts the lady's hand. She cuts her own hand. She makes a blood pact.
For the record, in real life, don't do that. You're going to get all kinds of jacked up shit if you do that.
Yeah, you're going to get COVID.
I was taking a drink and I spit water into my own eyes.
And so she combines.
Is that how that works, Dan?
Fucking no. She combines her blood with the woman with leprosy, and magically the woman is cured of her illness and suddenly is a hot, pretty lady.
Which has implications of its own.
Yeah. Well, again, as established on episode 0, everybody in this show is hot.
Why does she part of it too is like, okay, so you have cured this ailment, and the person is also conventionally hot now.
And everyone's like, "Oh shit." And she's like, "Yeah, our blood has shit in it that our immune systems are fucking bonkers, yo. We have shit in our blood that just
Our blood has shit in it.
that can just kill viruses and heal diseases, right? And if you fucking breathe with us, nobody's going to be sick anymore, right?"
It's weird considering how many people wear masks on this show that this is how easy they could solve this problem.
Right, yeah. And now there's
Timely humor.
The scene that made me so uncomfortable is that there is a young girl in attendance at this who just starts like she has stomach pains, like she's making she's moaning in pain, and there's weird noises, and two of the ladies are like, "Oh, it's happening early," and it's like, what's happening? So two lady warriors come and they take her away. They're like, "Oh, it's happening now. Let's go." And Kreeya and the other warriors just sort of ignore this and pretend it didn't happen. But Kung Lao's like, "That's not good. That's bad." The demonstration's over, and Vorpax, with this big giant smile on her face, she's like, "Guys, I have more stuff to show you." She's still trying to sell them on allying with Kreeya. And Kung Lao's like, "You guys go ahead. I want to go talk to the leper, the former leper, right? The lady who was just healed." And they're like, "Okay, cool, no sweat." And Zero and Taja go off with Vorpax. Kung Lao waits for them to be out of sight, and then he starts tracking the warrior women and the young girl out into the woods. And what he sees is they stop and the young girl falls to the ground in horrible pain and then starts glowing with light, similar to Kreeya when she was laying the nest. And then she is suddenly matured into an adult woman.
Yep.
And Kung Lao's like, oh shit,
Bad.
this is bad.
My note, all capital letters.
Yeah.
They just turn into adults and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Weird and gross. Weird and gross. That was a child a second ago.
Yeah, it's a really yeah. Let's continue on. I love this next scene with Shao Kahn just like anxiously sitting on his throne as Reiko approaches, and Shao Kahn's just like, you better make this good news, motherfucker.
And Reiko's like, well, it's definitely news.
Yeah.
It's informative.
Yes. Yeah, the witness who saw the attack, well, he died, but he talked to us before he died. And he confirmed that one of the other prisoners in the mine allied with the lady invaders, and it was Vorpax. And Shao Kahn is fucking pissed now. He like explodes. And this is where he freaks out. This is where he says that the Shadow Priests have told him that Kreeya is using Earthrealm as a staging ground, and he makes the case that he can now attack Kreeya. And Reiko's like, whoa, hold on, bro. What about the rules?
And he's like, self-defense, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love to invade on a technicality.
Well, he's like, I'm going to direct my attacks.
At Kreeya, not at Earthrealm,
At
the
Kreeya.
place she is in.
Right. It's an interesting implication, though, because she's not of Earthrealm. So if he does attack Kreeya and her
Yeah.
army,
And then
he's
what
not
he says
attacking
is like,
Earthrealm.
look, and if Earthrealm gets fucked up, an unfortunate loss, but an honorable need.
So be it, right? On a technicality, he's like, I'm going to fuck up Kreeya, and I'll take a little bit of Earthrealm with me. I've got self-defense on my side. I can argue that, like, whoops, I didn't mean to blow up North America. It just kind of happened. Kreeya was everywhere.
As we know, there are thousands of these hives in Outworld.
Yes.
So
No, they're not an Outworld. I thought so too. I re-examined this.
no, they're in Outworld.
Nope, because he talks about how the warriors are crossing his border, and he says how many hives are across our borders. Across, not within. So she really...
I don't think that's what that means. I'm going to fight you on this.
No, I guarantee you, because I thought the same thing, but it doesn't make sense.
I'm still going to argue with you.
He asks how many of her hives are across their borders. You, Corey, right now, are across the border from me.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's just it's a question of we don't live in a world. We don't live in a world where like realms consume other realms. So when he says across our borders, and I'm sticking to this, what I believe him to be saying is like across the expanse that is Outworld, across all of our borders, all of the shit that we have. How many are there? Because it doesn't make sense.
It does, because the whole point of this conversation
for it
is
to
that
be outside of Outworld.
She's using Earthrealm as a staging ground. It's outside of Outworld, so she's breeding her warriors there.
But
it's
they
not...
wouldn't all be on Earth, because that's a way bigger problem for the gang than we see.
Except that they're not necessarily targeting Earthrealm, they're targeting Outworld. She wants to conquer Outworld first.
No. But like, because at the end of the episode, they say, they just say, yeah, the only two left are Kreeya and Vorpax.
Right.
Like, they cannot be on Earth.
Wrong. The only two left in Zhuzhen are Kreeya and Vorpax.
They're not on Earth. I'm going to die on this fucking hill. There's no way they are on Earth. There is no way.
Okay, I disagree. I firmly disagree in this.
Why the fuck would they be on Earth?
Because this is their plan. First of all, they're trying to use Earthrealm.
The plan doesn't work. We see that.
Okay, well here's where me watching this show before comes in handy. This is not the last we see of Kreeya.
Okay, then just tell me right now. Just tell me right now. Am I wrong? Because you've seen the rest of the show and know the answer.
I'm rusty on the details because I don't remember the following Kreeya episodes. I know we get at least one or two episodes off from it, but we come back to it. So this is something that we're going to need to continue to track. And up until this rewatch, when I rewatched those scenes and paid attention to the language and considered the whole scope of the episode, this is the first time I've doubted the fact. This is the first time I've thought, oh, they don't have hives in Outworld. They only have hives in Earthrealm, and then they're crossing over into Outworld. And part of that is this whole idea that Zhuzhen is the crossroads between the realms, and the fact that, like, if they could just set up hives in Outworld, why would they be fucking with Earthrealm at all? I think we'll keep track of this, and we'll come back to this conversation. But I really do think that she has hives all over Earthrealm. The one in Zhuzhen is going to get destroyed in this episode.
Would Raiden not have, he could have fucking mentioned that at some point.
But Raiden hasn't really understood or known anything that's going on this whole episode.
But he
far.
he is in charge of the place. He would know that this is happening.
Again, we're just going to have to keep an eye on
this.
this.
The guy.
Let's continue on, right?
Dude, I'm so sorry about this. I feel so bad.
Kung Lao is fucked up over what he just saw with the little girl turning into the tall blonde that would definitely be Raiden's type. And he's like sweating and freaking out, right?
That was a child a second ago.
And then he stumbles onto the body of one of the dead boy warriors who was at Kreeya's camp. And then he finds the glowing nest, right? And the glowing nest conveniently has like this opening. You can just walk right inside.
And my note, really quick, I have one note that says, "Don't go in there, Kung Lao. You'll become a hot lady." Because I thought at this point, I still thought they were turning men into women warriors. Because that's why that guy was on the ground. So I was like, "Don't go in there. You're gonna become a hot lady."
No, he walks in. He walks into the nest. It's a hive. It's like beehive style. It's got like honeycomb walls, except it's not honeycomb. It's humanoid embryo comb, and there's just thousands of them in there, right? In all of this,
And then the camera starts to spin.
Yeah.
When it's looking at this baby, and it's just like, oh my god.
Because dude is fucked up from this, right?
It's so fucking funny. And Kung Lao's like, ah!
So he comes out, and he is even more fucking disturbed as hell. And then
he looks like he's gonna puke.
He does. He looks sick to his stomach. He's sweaty and clammy. And Raiden pops up, and Kung Lao's like, Raiden, it's a fucking hive. They have thousands of children in there. They mature in days. Kreeya's gonna overrun Earthrealm like super fucking quick, dude. Can you do anything? Raiden's like, I'm sorry, I can't. Kreeya hasn't broken any rules yet. I can't interfere.
And up to this point, we don't even know if Kreeya is beholden to the rules, because she's sure been doing a lot of conquering without the rules of Mortal Kombat applying, and therefore the Elder God's not caring.
I think
we haven't heard about any Mortal Kombat.
See, I think the technicality here is that she's come to Earthrealm. She has reached out diplomatically. Any of the warriors that she has consummated with have done so willingly. So I don't really think that any rules actually have been broken in terms of conquering. I think that's how they get away with it. They talk people into going along with their plan instead of just attacking them with violence and taking the realm by force, right? That's kind of what she was saying earlier, that like people welcome us in. They choose to allow us into their place.
We trick them.
Yeah, it is. But it's a technicality. It doesn't technically break the rules, apparently, right? And Kung Lao's like, fuck the rules, do something. And Raiden's like, I can't until a rule is broken, dude. Get the message, right?
He's he's basically screaming at him, holding a giant neon sign, "Get someone to break a rule and I will help you."
Yeah, but he doesn't fucking get it. So he goes back, Kung Lao goes back to Camp Kreeya. Siru and Taj are just chilling out with the Queen, with Queen Kreeya, and Kung Lao's like, hey, guys, this is fucked up. This is an invasion. I saw a hive. It's an army. There's thousands of them. They grow to adults quickly.
Also, there's a corpse out there. There's
You're going to
a
overrun
dead man.
us. There's a dead man. And Kreeya's like, oh, yeah, that's the guy I fucked
He had to
too.
die. She literally says he had to die.
She says it happens sometimes, right? So this guy that she nailed is how she was able to make the hive, right? And unfortunately, the guy didn't survive. That sucks. So she's literally like, yeah, sometimes it happens.
Kung Lao's like, you're deceiving us. And she's like, we're not deceiving you. And it's like, you've clearly deceived them.
Yeah. And he's like, come on, Siru, Taja, this is fucked up.
Kung Lao makes his case. And Ciro's like, yeah, I'm in, let's go. And it's like, masculinity, gang, rise up. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's boys support boys. And then
hot boy with boy action.
Boy on boy
1080p HD.
And then 4K 120 frames.
Siru and Kung Lao do hot boy stuff. 4K 1080p.
480i. And yeah, they're trying to convince Taja like
.mkv.
Stop. And they're like, hey man, it'd be pretty cool if you stayed. Think about it. Look at how happy we are, all these ladies. And Taja's like, actually, I like my friends. So Taja Gang is says friendship is magic, and then the crew rolls out.
MWM.
That's enough.
All right.
They're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna get out of here. And then, Kreeya's like, no, you're not.
Nope.
Spy Kids game over is what's going to happen to you.
You're my enemies
And-
now.
Yeah, well, it looks like you just walked into my headquarters and said that you hate me. So I'm going to actually just tie you all up.
Yep.
And we're going to figure this one out. And so Kung Lao gets put in a
Yes.
cage with Bruce Locke. I don't know why I said Bruce Locke.
Yeah, she's like, Paulo Montalban, I have the perfect place for you, and it's inside this metal cage
It's
with sweaty Bruce
with Bruce
Locke.
Locke. And instantly they are arguing.
Holy
Like,
shit. It's
they
so
are like,
fucking good.
hey man, you want to fight? Fucking fight me, idiot. Who cares about the rules? Fucking
This fuck-
fight me. And
Yeah.
Bruce, I just said it again.
Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung's like,
no, fuck you. I would if I could, but I don't have my powers. And Kung Lao's like, we're in a cage, bro. Just fight me without your powers.
yeah, it was fucking, I mean, A, it was telegraphed hard, but B, it was super clever on Kung Lao's part because he's like, oh shit, if Shang Tsung hits me, this is breaking the rules.
Yeah, Kung Lao knows, and I think Shang Tsung knows to an extent what
Yeah.
the plan is here, because they're bickering, and then like he basically just like slaps him, like it's not a big deal, and then instantly lightning explosion. Raiden is here. He's fucking shooting lightning.
It's
He's
so
fucking-
good. He goes,
He's breaking them out.
uh-oh, someone broke a rule. And then he zaps the
Shoots the
cage
lock
open. And then leaves.
Kung Lao gets out, and he's like, "Yo, come on, let's go."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, I guess we have to reluctantly team up." And by the way, the explosion when Raiden leaves looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it does. And Shang Tsung's like, I can't do much without my powers.
And it's like, okay, we'll just go get that amulet. And then conveniently, Kreeya comes right then. And she's like, beans, my cage is open.
They kind of hide on like either side of the curtain opening, and she walks
Yeah.
in right between without noticing them. And then they're like, surprise, Kreeya.
And then they fight.
They fucking fight. This is Kung Lao and Shang Tsung on the same side in a fight, fighting together against Kreeya. And as weird as this fight scene was shot, where they had like this weird sort of like, it looked like a post-production speed ramp. Everything's just moving a little too quick, and it's a little bit choppy.
I didn't notice the speed thing.
Oh, I noticed it like crazy.
I will say this fight is cool because of the participants, but this
Yeah.
show needs to come up with more creative ways to get verticality in a fight than
Right.
someone jumps on a box.
Yeah, well, a lot of boxes around. But
And we're in this big fucking gigantic circus tent.
there's some good object work though. Like Kreeya's a hell of a fighter, right? She can hold her own. I mean, she's holding them both off, and she like uses like the chain that was locking the cage as a weapon.
Yeah, which the one of the fighters did at the beginning, swings on it like fucking Tarzan.
Yes. Yeah. God, we didn't talk about that enough. Too late. And
Too late. It's been 3 hours.
she uses the cage door to like protect herself and to hit them. Sometimes it's like some real Jackie Chan's first strike shit.
Fuck off.
That was the one with the ladder fight in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember
That fight
fucking
fucking
ladder fight.
shreds. Anyway, we can't talk about my good friend and yours, Jackie Chan, right now.
So she's doing her best to like hold them off, but she can't beat them completely. So at some point, I didn't understand this. She just takes the crystal off her neck.
I don't know why she did that either.
Throws it
I
down
think
and
that was
disappears.
just like resigning.
I
Like,
th-
okay, you got me. Whatever.
The best I can come up with is she was like, oh, I have Shang Tsung's magic, and he's helpless without this. If I give him his magic back, maybe he'll turn on Kung Lao instead of me, and I can get away. So that's what happens. She smashes the crystal. Shang Tsung's got his powers back, right? And she fucking disappears, and Kung Lao and Shang Tsung sort of turn on each other immediately. It was like the intro of Mortal Kombat Deception after Quan Chi and Shang Tsung defeated Raiden and then immediately turned on each other.
Now that's what I call an unholy alliance.
Boom. Pew, 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 pew. And Kung Lao's like, yo, don't fight me, bro. We have to destroy the nest. And Shang Tsung's like, all right, I will. This will be my last act for my emperor. And Kung Lao's like, what are you talking about?
I'm immigrating.
Earthrealm is my home now, so I have to save it, right? It's my new home. And he like leaves the tent, and we immediately start hearing just explosions and screams in the background.
Truly terrifying background sound. Like Kung Lao cuts through a tent to go break out the gang,
Zero
and
and
you are
Taja.
hearing a whole fucking massacre in the background.
Yes.
It's horrible.
Explosions, all kind of shit.
he is just fucking wreaking havoc
Yeah, he
on
is.
this utopian warrior woman society.
And
he is
Super Saiyan now.
He is Superman under a yellow sun. Like
Yeah, he
he's
is.
fucking going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And convenient. This is when we find out, like, we see everything charred and fucked up, and they're like, okay, Kreeya and Vorpax got out, whatever. And then Shao Kahn in Outworld is like, it's wartime, baby. Let's hit the warpath, baby.
He's talking with Reiko, and Reiko confirms, as Corey and I already argued about, that Kreeya has established
Okay, Neal.
thousands of hives in Earthrealm, and they're
That's
all
not what he
attacking
says.
Outworld.
That's not what he says, but okay.
Yeah.
It's not what that means, but sure.
Last words of the episode, Shao Kahn exclaiming, "Alert the troops. We are at war."
Fade to black.
Fucking rules. Yeah.
So, aside from all the stuff that's bad in this episode, of which there is plenty,
Yep.
the rest of it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is my final thought.
Yeah, it was attempting to do something that it was not capable of doing in a meaningful or competent way. But
They lack the faculties for it, frankly.
yeah, but we got some cool shit in this, right? I was totally like, I got fucking psyched when Kung Lao and Shang Tsung had to team up at the end. I was like, why can't these boys just get along? These two hot brothers.
They really need what we need is some class consciousness. They're both cool fighters.
Yeah.
Shao Kahn, clearly the problem here.
Clearly.
The rich elite.
Yes. Loved Vorpax getting at least a little bit of vindication
Yeah,
and getting
awesome.
freed. She's no longer a prisoner in the Cobalt Mines. She's no longer Shang Tsung's abused slave.
A lot of her people did get slaughtered.
Yeah, but that's just going to piss her off more.
That's Mortal Kombat for you.
Yeah, and fortunately, Kreeya has thousands of hives in Earthrealm, so there will be plenty of other
You fucking
warriors.
piece of shit. Yeah, this episode has ideas.
Yeah.
A couple of them are good.
And we're going to stay on this plot thread again. I think we take an episode off here or there, but over the course of the rest of the season, the Kreeya plot line is going to continue. I'm pretty psyched for it. I don't know. I'm into it.
It's about time Shao Kahn had a hobby.
God damn it. We've been recording for a long time. I think we should
Yeah,
just stop
Let's
here.
get out of here. Yeah, we're
Corey.
done.
Corey,
You know what? People hear my plugs on other episodes. Do you just want to stop?
follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at MK Podquest. Subscribe in your podcast app. Give us good 5-star reviews. We have a YouTube channel. It's almost current with our episodes. I'm working on it, guys. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel because we want that custom URL. And to find out what other shit that Corey and I do, check the show notes.
Yeah. Find us on Twitter. My other podcast is there. It's with my friend Liam. We watch movies.
Cutting this out.
You can find out what kind by Googling it. They made another one.
And that's it. God damn it. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Paul. All
Thanks,
right.
Paul. You have to keep the laugh in.
I do want to... Shit. All right. We'll pick it up next week.
What? What do you want to do?
I was going to say if anybody else wants to send shit in, they should. But you know what? They get the message. All right.
I think we said that already.
We probably did. It's been
Send us a voicemail, please.
it's been a day.